everyone, and welcome to another episode of the ATP Project. You're with your host, Steve-O, and Nic.
How are you, Nick? Nicky? I like Nicky.
I am a Nicky outside of ATP.
Now, you're too young to remember this, but there's a song, "Oh, Nicky, you're so fine, you blow my mind."
No, that's Mickey.
Oh, Mickey, that's right. Oh, shit.
But there's wow,
right.
Steve finally got a music trivia question
it's
wrong.
Terrible.
But there's one by Prince called Darling Nikki.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You
Be
know
Googling that after this podcast.
There you go.
Good on you,
Actually,
Prince.
maybe don't, because the lyrics are somewhat yeah, maybe don't actually.
Yeah, there's
what
some
it's about, something completely different.
Well, today's podcast is going to be a bit shit, isn't it?
It's going to be real shit, actually. Why is that? Because we're talking about
your number
poo.
twos. Oh, look at that.
We're talking
It's
about
a
poo.
Snickers bar.
It does look like a Snickers. Remember what was it? What's the golfing one with the polywaffle in the pool?
Oh, yeah.
What was the name of that? The Caddyshack. The polywaffle in the pool.
Caddyshack. How do you remember Caddyshack?
I'm old enough for
That's
that.
a great movie.
It's so
for
good.
those who are
Anything else.
like easily offended, that one, you'll be offended.
Very
in that one.
unpolitically correct. But they had a polywaffle in the pool and everyone thought it was a big poo.
Yeah, that's right. That had all the stars, didn't it?
It did.
Oh, gee, I love that movie, Caddyshack.
Yes. So anyway, yes, we are talking about poo
Number
today.
twos today.
Well, we're talking about number ones to number sevens all the way through.
That's right. We're talking about number ones, number seven. Now, what does that mean? I'm talking about number twos and you're talking about number ones and number seven. What's this 1 to 7 business?
So I'm sure everyone's heard of the Bristol Stool Chart.
Isn't it an amazing chart?
It is an amazing
It's a picture
chart.
with a whole lot of poo on it.
It is. It's definitely amazing.
Different poos.
Different types of poos. So we're going to go literally through the Bristol Stool Chart and talk about the different poos and what they mean. What they can indicate, how we can maybe rectify a lot of the problems. We're also going to talk about the colour of your poo, what that means, because there's many different colours of poo, Steve.
Can't wait.
I know.
When's lunch? No, it's a little while. It goes good.
No, chocolate bars for lunch. No. And then a few other little bits and pieces, maybe some gas.
That's
We'll talk
awesome.
a bit about
Gas,
gas
yeah.
maybe.
This is gold. People are going to be tuning into this, aren't they?
I know. See, we love, because we love talking about poo. Everyone knows naturopaths love talking about poo. But it's really fascinating because you can tell a lot by your poo.
Yeah.
So,
Well, let's start with the top. We'll start with number one.
Number one.
Number one poos.
Yeah, so we've got a picture of number ones.
We've got
here.
a picture of number ones. You can hold it up the screen if you want. It's not that graphic. I found some cartoony ones.
Nice cartoony
you can get
ones.
some actual photos.
Pebble. No, we've got no actual photos.
But if you were
no
to
one
get
sent anything in.
But if you're listening and you're wondering what the hell we're showing up, it looks like sheep poo. Remember the pellets, little balls?
Yeah, little pebbles.
Yeah.
Separate hard lumps like nuts is the description.
So this is like when you're constipated and you've got these really hard sort of things coming out of your butt.
Yeah. So, your poo's very pebbly and hard to get out as well. So it can be just a bit of a strain to get it out.
So what are some of the things that can cause constipation, for example?
All right. So let's go through. There's quite a lot.
Because I don't want that.
No one wants that.
No,
it's not comfortable, but I'm sure.
No.
Well, let's talk about them. The obvious things would be dehydration.
Nope. Okay, quickly. Hang on. Let's have a drink. I don't want this.
And I say obvious, but you know what? It's actually not as obvious as people would think, because, the amount of clients that I see and they say, I ask how much water they're drinking if they're constipated, and they go, no, I drink throughout the day. And then we sort of break it down, and it's usually maybe a litre max or half a litre to a litre. So dehydration is quite common, actually. People don't realise.
The large intestine is where you draw your water from.
Yes.
And if you haven't had enough to drink, your body holds on to your poo to draw it all the way out of it so you don't die of dehydration.
That's right.
It's clever, but you end up with pellet poo.
You end up with pellet poo. So, so dehydration is one of the most obvious. The other pretty obvious one is low fibre.
Fibre. Now,
so not enough fibre.
Just quickly,
right?
fibre, where do we get that from?
So we get fibre from vegetables. So there's different types of fibre. There's soluble, insoluble. There's resistant starches. So you want a good variety of those. So all your fibrous vegetables, grains, legumes, that type of thing have all the different types of fibre.
And Australians are shit with eating fibre.
Australians are shit, or maybe they don't shit.
Yeah, they don't shit because they don't have that sort of thing.
Yeah, so that's another one.
Yep.
And then we can get into more maybe lesser known reasons for constipation. So medications can be
Oh,
a big factor.
name a medication that can cause it.
So antidepressants is a pretty...
Antidepressants is a classic one, like the Prozacs, because it's a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, or it has an effect on serotonin.
Yeah.
Serotonin is what enables peristalsis in the gut.
That's
right. Amazing. That's a very common medication. What other meds?
So we've got diuretics, obviously.
Diuretics cause you to urinate more, so you become dehydrated.
That's
so
right.
there's things like potassium-sparing diuretics for hypertension.
Yep.
So very common medication again.
Yep.
Any others?
PPI, so proton hump
inhibitors. I'm going to call them proton hump inhibitors.
Proton pump inhibitors.
It inhibits your humping.
Well, mate,
There's nothing worse
possibly
than that.
does, because so it can, in a roundabout way, it probably could inhibit your humping as well. But
we don't want that.
no, we don't want that. But
I'm
it
married,
can
so
also,
it doesn't make a difference to me.
it can also cause constipation. PPIs. So that's another one. Opiates.
Opioids are a classic one.
Yeah.
And in the olden days, in the 70s, doctors used to prescribe a tincture of opium for diarrhea.
There you go.
So it was actually a medication for diarrhea.
Wow.
So it has the opposite effect. It does cause constipation dramatically.
Yeah.
And there was a classic movie or TV series out called Painkillers or something, and it was all about the painkillers. And the doctor said, there's no side effects to this, not addictive. It'll just give you a bit of constipation.
Yeah, cool. Awesome.
So, and of course, that was Purdue Pharma, and they've been sued for billions, so they misled lots of things. So that was an incredible...
You don't hear that these days, do you?
No,
Being misled.
this is only in the 90s and 2000s. So this
it's
is
quite recent.
Yeah, very recent. So opioids are very important. They're your painkillers that you go on when you had your operations.
That's right.
What else?
Iron supplements.
Now, iron's a classic one because iron comes in many forms. There's non-heme and there's heme iron.
Yeah.
They sell non-heme iron, which is the bad iron, at pharmacies.
Yes.
So they're the ones like iron sulfate.
Yes.
And that can cause constipation. That's incredible. And very, very common for a woman to go to the iron and go to the shop and get iron formulations. You know.
Really common, really common.
Yeah.
And, we use particular forms that don't cause constipation, if anyone has any issues with that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
What else?
Hormonal imbalances,
Hormonal
Steve.
imbalances.
Yeah. Menopause probably being the most prevalent as far as constipation. I see a lot of women in menopause that have constipation.
Wow.
So, and that can be due to low estrogen. Estrogen, serotonin work together as well.
do.
So that can be impactful there. Insulin resistant becomes a factor for women postmenopausal as well. So that also can impact constipation. So hormonal imbalance is another one. Low serotonin, as we said, with antidepressants. It does help with peristalsis, with pushing the stool through. Migrating motor complex issues.
Wow, that's an interesting one, isn't it? So you don't get the nervous innervation to the colon.
That's right. Yeah.
Now, peristalsis is like a waving action. I'm doing it in front of the camera, but if you're listening, it's like physically it pushing the poo along like you're swimming.
Like a little earthworm going along.
Yeah, like an
sort of
earthworm.
pushes
That's it.
itself
That's
through.
much clever.
Yeah,
I was going to say like in the 80s how you did the worm on the ground.
Yeah. There you go.
But there's people listening who are younger than me. Oh, just show you? Yeah.
Steve.
Okay, here we go. Okay. Oh, jeez. No, I'd snap something.
You probably,
I'm sure I used to
I think
do
something
that.
would snap.
I think I did
probably
used
break
to
your
do
hip or something, Steve, at your age.
My age, yeah. Jesus. I probably would break the hip. All right.
So migrating motor complex. But the migrating motor complex is only activated 4 to 5 hours without eating.
Right.
So you have to have not eaten for it to actually sort of be activated. So people who eat every couple of hours, that it never switches on their migrating motor complex. So, and that can be a factor for a lot of people as well.
Wow.
Also, gut dysbiosis, different types of dysbiosis within the gut, SIBOs, all that sort of thing can impact the migrating motor complex.
SIBO and LIBO?
SIBO and LIBO, which are on the list as well. So we may as well say that now. So LIBO, large intestinal bacterial overgrowth.
Wow.
So it's a sort of a
People know
dysbiosis.
SIBO.
They do know SIBO, and that's small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. We also have emo, and not the ones that get dressed up in black and do it. They're
emo?
emos, aren't they?
I thought they were goths.
Oh, were they? Wasn't there? What's the emos? Yeah. I think you're in the old. You're
old.
You're way
goths,
out of.
Goths were usually girls.
I think emos are the new. I probably don't.
They've got black hair.
I'm sure
and
there's
they're
probably
wearing...
not many emos watching. To be honest, I don't think that's our target audience. No.
Oh, the ones that wear black and black hair, you right now.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not an emo. Yeah.
No, but you're kind of goth looking. You got the long hair, long black hair.
Goth looking. Oh, geez.
A little bit.
Well, I'm really waffled. I was trying to achieve.
You've got a black top on there for those listening, and you got black hair.
I do have black hair, yeah. I have very dark brown hair. It's not black, but yeah.
I've got very grey hair. I think it's the only thing that's going
That's
there.
true, you do have very
No,
grey.
it's silvery.
It's salt and pepper, Steve.
Salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper.
Oh, God.
And so EMO, so intestinal methanogen overgrowth. So that's another...
Like methanobrevibacter, all these bacteria. Yeah, and so you build up this hydrogen sulfide gas, which stops peristalsis.
Exactly.
That's rotten egg gas, by the way.
It is rotten. Well, you just blew it, Steve. I was going to talk about...
Oh, were you?
Going to talk about different types of
I was going to talk
gases
about my
in
year
our-
10 chemistry when I discovered this. I put zinc in with H2SO4, sulfuric acid, and it bubbles off H2S gas or hydrogen sulfide gas, stinks the
Rotten egg
place
gas.
out. So what we do is just before we leave, we get the chunks of zinc, chuck it in an ice cream container and run. And it's like a fart bomb. Nowadays, there's these clever ones where you break apart and it releases H2S gas.
Oh, there you go.
But it'd stink and everyone have to evacuate. We just thought that was funny.
Hilarious, yeah. So anyway, so we won't worry about the gas section now then. We've just covered that.
Sorry,
It's
I
rotten egg
ruined
gas.
Go on.
So SIBO, and there's different types of SIBO as well, actually. So more specifically, SIBO C type. So SIBO constipation, because there's also a SIBO D, D for diarrhea, and there's also SIBO M, which is mixed, so you can get constipation and diarrhea.
Right.
So there's different types. So any sort of small intestinal kind of dysbiosis or large intestinal dysbiosis can also cause that.
Wow.
Hypomobility is another one. Hypomobility.
So low mobility.
Yeah. So people are very bendy. So for me, I'm not going to do it in front of the camera, but I have double jointed elbows.
Oh my God, so have I.
I hope you
Do you want me to show you?
Yeah, show me.
All right. This is a warning. Can I give a warning?
I want to see if yours are worse than mine.
Oh, I don't know. You might have to help me.
Mine's pretty bad.
Can you just give a little push on the back of the elbow?
I don't think I'm going to do it. No, I can't do it.
Come around the side. Bit of push. Oh, there we go. Does that look good?
Yeah, that looks good. That's good.
Is that more than yours?
Well, should I do mine? I don't want to freak people out.
Yeah, do yours. Yeah, let's put this back in. Go on, do yours.
Oh, that's mine.
Oh, that looks like hyperextending the elbow.
Yeah, that one's
probably.
So I was scarred from this when I was at school, and when I was a kid, and I'd put my hand up. And everyone would go, oh my God, what's wrong with your arm? So I stopped putting my hand up at school.
So you failed because you couldn't put your hand up.
I actually left school early, so there you go.
Oh, did you?
I blame the people that teased me when I was a kid. Anyway, hypermobility. Generally, essentially, if you're bendy on the outside, you're also bendy on the inside.
Right.
So bowel and small intestine, all that sort of stuff can be quite loose.
Yeah.
And so if they're loose, then you can have issues with peristalsis and that type of thing. Very common for people, a lot of people have SIBO to have hypermobility.
Right.
Or I should more likely say people with hypermobility very often have SIBO.
Right.
For that reason.
Okay.
So that's an interesting one.
Yep.
IBS, obviously.
Irritable bowel syndrome.
Yeah, which we can talk about, not in this podcast. It's probably a podcast all on its own. The reasons behind IBS.
Amazing. That's a really fascinating disease. It's a bit of a basket diagnosis because, if you've got this weird bowel thing, we can't find anything wrong, so we'll just call it IBS.
Yeah, exactly. Idiopathic is the doctors like to use the idiopathic, which basically means they don't know.
Yeah, well, the cause
they don't know, then it's what it is. So that's an interesting one. Poor liver function. Yeah, so I see a lot people whose liver is a little bit insufficient or sluggish.
Yep.
They're not going to be producing enough bile. So we produce bile in the liver and then it's stored in the gallbladder. Mm-hmm. So liver function can definitely impact your bowel movements. A lot of times if I start to work on someone's liver, they have improved bowel movements. So it helps with stimulating all that sort of thing. So that's another one. Clinical or subclinical hypothyroidism.
Oh, hang on. What? Clinical and subclinical, what's the difference there?
So clinical is basically means you're out of range enough for them to diagnose you with hypothyroidism. Yeah. So orthodox medicine so if it's within range, then orthodox medicine will not say that you have hypothyroidism. They say you're fine. So we call that subclinical. So you're far enough out of the normal range for us to say, yes, there's an issue. So obviously everyone knows hypothyroidism slows everything down. Yeah. So constipation is one of those. So if you have thyroid issues, you can definitely have some constipation.
All these things are really super common.
They are really common.
It's amazing how we actually get any poop in the toilet out of our buttholes, isn't it? Because of this constipation that,
Well, I mean,
everybody can get this stuff.
That's true.
Like a stress. I mean, chronic stress is one. I mean,
chronic stress is a big one, yeah. Obviously, who isn't stressed? So that delays your gastric emptying and can cause a lot of those issues. And traumatic brain injury. I think we've mentioned that in another podcast as well. So that sort of gut-brain connection is broken. So that can impact your
There's a big nerve called the vagus nerve that lops down there from the brain to the gut. It usually actually is efferent. So in other words, you usually get signals from the bowel to the brain. And that's a podcast in itself about how the bowels affect the brain.
Yeah, that was a cool
I think
one.
we've done them. Well, I think we've done them.
Oh, have we? Oh, there you go.
Okay, so that's type 1. That's it. But that's now a more mild constipation is type 2.
Type 2. So
is that the keto bar? That's like
that's kind of like the Snickers bar.
Snickers bar is what I'd say. So it looks like it's got big nuts.
It's sausage. It's
got big nuts
shaped,
in the
but
sausage.
lumpy. It's a lumpy sausage, Steve.
I can't say sausage and nuts, can I? But it's a bit lumpy sausage, isn't it?
It's a lumpy sausage. So that's still a mild constipation.
Yeah.
So again, could be a lot of the reasons that we've just talked about that could cause that. So then we can talk about, because number 3 is getting more normal.
Normal, yeah.
So we can talk about maybe some solutions for constipation and then go into number 3 and onwards. Would you want to do it that way?
Yeah. Let's fix number 1 and number 2.
All right, so let's fix number 1 and number 2.
Yep.
So first thing I usually say, this depends on the picture, the patient's picture. But microbiome testing I do quite a bit of because I see a lot of gut people with gut issues. So that would be my first stop if there's a lot of other things going on. If this is transient, which means it's short term, then obviously we just work on getting your bowel movements regular. If this is more chronic, that's been ongoing for some time, I would look at some stool analysis or some gut microbiome testing, obviously with a lot looking at other systems as well. So I just want to premise that if there's any issues. Other than that, probiotics can be really helpful for a lot of constipation.
Yep.
There's particular types that we like to use. And again, I premise if you have anything else going on in your gut, be careful with probiotics because some of them can feed maybe overgrowths that are already there and create more of a problem. So you want to be
SIBO, you're in trouble, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. So, and even some histamine, there's a lot of histamine producing bacteria. So if you have histamine issues,
we did a podcast on that.
Yeah, we have done one on histamine actually. So that's probably out by now.
It will be by this time this comes out.
the podcast genius in the corner there.
And you're not looking at me when you say that.
No, I did a side eye to Matt.
Side eye.
It's a side eye. So, but if everything is, don't have SIBO, although I have to say Lactobacillus reuteri DSM 179 is actually very good for SIBO.
Right.
So that's
So there's a probiotic good for SIBO.
There's quite a few probiotics good for SIBO. I mean, this isn't a SIBO podcast, but there actually are quite a few that are quite safe to use in SIBO. Yeah. So that's where you kind of want to know what's going on in the gut before you prescribe that.
Okay.
But Lactobacillus reuteri, DSM 179, very good for constipation. So that could be one to look out. E. coli Nisol 1917, really good for significant constipations and to get some good results with that. Bifidobacterium lactis, HNO19. I'm squinting because I've got my glasses on.
Where are your glasses? They're there.
They're right here. I know, but I was going to go the whole podcast without my glasses on.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to read.
I can't, clearly. Lactobacillus rhamnosus GG, really good for a lot of things. Good for gut hyperpermeability, allergies type issues, that sort of thing as well. And Bifidobacterium animalis species lactis BS01.
Wow.
So there's specific strains that can be really good for constipation. So they're ones to look out for. And most of them are pretty safe. Lactobacillus rhamnosus GG is good for a lot of things within the gut as well. So most of them are pretty safe with anything going on in your gut anyway.
So they're the probiotics. What are any prebiotics that can help?
Yeah, definitely some good prebiotics for constipation. Lactulose.
Oh, yeah.
Really good. It can be a little too good for some people.
Lactulose. There's a test they do in the hospital, lactulose mannitol test for absorption, and lactulose, anything with OSE is either fibrous or so. Yeah, it can be slightly laxative, but that's what we're after here.
Yeah, exactly. So that one, you can dose it so that you're not getting quite explosive issues with it. But GOS and FOS, So,
Wow.
so free
People are thinking,
oligosaccharides and
Glad you
galacto-oligosaccharides.
said that because people think you're just making that up.
I'm just making it up.
Yeah.
They can be really good. I will caution, particularly with FOS, people can be a little bit more sensitive to it. Because these are probiotics, they can cause bloating, gas, all of that sort of stuff, because you're feeding the bacteria. Is what prebiotics do. They feed the bacteria in your microbiome. So you want to start really slowly with some of these prebiotics and be a bit careful with them. PHGG I find quite good, so partly hydrolyzed guar gum.
Yes.
That one's really good, and that one is people are a lot less sensitive to that, so you can high dose it. And I find with some people, just increase the dose, you can take quite a bit of it, so you can play around with that one. Slippery elm is one of my favourite prebiotics because it has so many other good benefits for the gut.
Yeah.
It's it works on it's anti-inflammatory, feeds your bifidobacterium, and it helps things slide through as well. So it's really good for constipation.
Yeah.
Polyphenols, obviously.
Polyphenols are good for everything with your gut, isn't it?
Everything. Yeah, so they're really good.
Well, what about herbs? Anything we can do for you?
Yeah, so there's things called prokinetics. So prokinetics help to move things along.
Kinetic means to move.
Yeah, exactly. So things like ginger. So ginger's a prokinetic. Oh. So if I know a lot of people hate ginger. I don't understand
like me.
why. But
no, I can't stand it.
Can like ginger.
Nah, yuck.
Oh, it's the best thing ever, Steve.
Bloody good for you.
It's so good for
Bloody good for you, but I can't stand the taste of it.
Well, you wouldn't like to chew on some raw ginger before your meal then,
would you? Jeez.
Because that can be a really good way to get your ginger in. Otherwise, you can sip on ginger tea. You can chop it up and put it in your meals.
I'll chop it up and throw it in the bin. No, it's very good for you. I know. It's just I don't like it. It's the burny.
It's funny that I find more men don't like ginger than women.
Because they're more sensible.
I was going to say, I thought you were going to say sensitive. That sounds about
there's
right.
a few emails there. We're not more sensible. I can guarantee that.
We can maybe. Aberogast is really good. So
that's been around forever.
Forever, yeah. You can get it in supermarkets even.
Now what if I hit you with like the old herbs that we used to use in the olden days, senna and those sort of ones?
Yeah, they're good, but very, very short term.
Yeah.
Because I see a lot of people come to me with something called lazy bowel.
Yeah.
And they've been on laxatives for a very long time.
Yeah.
So the muscles actually they atrophy. And so then obviously the muscle you're not going to get any peristalsis at all. And it can be quite a while to get back to getting good peristalsis in the bowel. So yes. So what we say?
I know.
Senna.
I know in hospital they combine senna with opioids.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, because the opioids cause opioids are not something that we see every day. Or actually, a lot of people are on them. They give them with senna.
Yeah, okay.
Because they're known constipation and senna is a known laxative.
Yeah.
And hospital using a herbal medicine is pretty cool.
Yeah. So there you go. So senna. Senna can be good, but some people find they can actually get constipated with senna.
Really?
Yeah, I found that. So,
there you go.
Now
you mentioned liver before.
Yeah, liver.
Liver makes bile, which is a mild laxative, a natural one.
Yeah.
So what herbs can we take for the liver?
So liver, gallbladder support. A lot of times I do, depending on the circumstances, to help with constipation. So globe artichoke's my favourite for gallbladder insufficiency. So when you're not, the bile isn't, you're not producing, don't have good bile flow. Yeah. So, when you're eating your fats, you don't get enough bile to help to break that down. St. Mary's thistle, really good for liver and gallbladder. Dandelion root, fringe tree. Yeah. Curcumin's really good. Yellow dock, berberine, ginger. And then you've got taurine, glycine, choline, and even ox bile.
Ox bile, love it.
Yeah. So there's some
really good stuff.
Yeah, really good stuff. So there's some little solutions if you have got more acute constipation. Like I said, if it's more chronic, long term, I'd be looking at some underlying underlying reasons rather than treating the symptom, because constipation is a symptom, not a cause.
It is a symptom. Now speaking of, we're now to type 3 in the Bristol Stool Chart, and 4, and we can probably combine them together. Yeah, type 3 looks like a corn on the cob from here.
Kind of like a corn on the cob.
It's like a sausage with little lumpies on it.
It's sausage shaped but with cracks on the surface, Steve, is the description.
Okay.
And then number 4, which is the ultimate.
It's like sausage.
This is like the gold
standard.
Gold standard.
Can we call it the brown standard?
It's the brown standard, yeah. The brown snake, Steve.
The brown
sausage. The sausage. The brown snake. Smooth and soft. Sausage or snake-like and smooth and soft. So you kind of want to get the – sorry to be graphic. You kind of want to get the little circle.
Isn't that medically known as the ice cream effect?
That's what it is. Yeah.
I just made that up, people. Don't believe that.
Yeah.
Don't write that.
So yeah, you don't want to have long continuous stool is it's the ultimate.
It's the
what
ultimate.
everyone should be aiming for.
And
so that's quite normal. So
you want a
3 and
clean
4.
snap at the end of it, don't you?
Clean snap. Oh, and also you want to be feel fully evacuated. So if you're not feeling fully evacuated, that can sort of cross the line into a little bit of constipation. If it's not all getting out the way it should be. So you want to feel completely emptied out and ready to go.
You want to take your phone to the toilet sometimes just to pass the time.
I have issues
post some
with that.
memes when you're on the
I do
toilet.
have issues with that. I have had people call me from the toilet and I've hung up on them.
Really?
Yeah, I have.
They've called you from the toilet.
From the toilet, yeah. And I know they're in the
Nick,
toilet because I know the echo. I know the noises, and I'm like, I'm not talking to you.
Are they talking about their...
No, I'm not talking about their poop. Not clients.
Oh, you mean like friends calling you from the toilet?
Yes, yeah. Clients don't call me. No.
I text from the dunny.
Do you?
Yeah.
No,
no one knows.
No, I'm not. I just can't. I can't do it. And a few times I've been out and you go to the bathrooms and you got your phone in your back pocket when you're out, and you go to the toilet and you forget straight into the toilet. I've done that 3 times.
No.
Yeah, so I've left it there. I have not fished it out of the public toilet.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so that I now don't put my phone in my pocket if I go to a public toilet. So anyway,
this is gold information.
These are problems all on their own, Steve, the whole
Don't you have a
mobile
handbag?
phone.
Girls have handbags with everything in it.
I don't carry a handbag often. I'm not a handbag carrier.
Really?
No, not really. No, I've got like a little wallet, like a little thing I put my phone fits in.
I've seen you bring something into work.
Oh, I do carry a bag to here, but that's got all my stuff in it, yeah. But I wouldn't walk around with it. No, I'm not a handbag kind of a person, really.
Wow.
No, I'm very minimalist, Steve.
Neither am I.
No, well, I don't know. I've seen you a few times, Steve.
Oh, yes.
That pink one occasionally.
It's nice. It's very
anyway,
nice.
so 3 and 4
are the gold.
They're good. So we don't even have to talk about them because if you got them going on, you don't really have any issues.
We're coming into 5, and this is really, really difficult to describe what that looks like.
Well, let's look at the description. Soft blobs with clear-cut edges that are easy to pass.
Okay, so they're like blub, 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 in the toilet, like Morse code.
Yeah,
so
mushy with ragged edges, essentially.
Oh, my God, I love that description.
Oh, hang on, no, that's the next one. No, soft blobs with clear-cut edges. So I'm getting ahead of myself because I've got that one on the back.
Okay.
So this one is moving more towards looser stools, so more towards that diarrhea type picture, but still not too bad. Yeah. Could be low fibre. That could be the main reason that your poop is soft blobs with clear-cut edges. So look at your fibre intake. So that's.
I think because you're still practicing naturopathy, the cold brown naturopathy. I know that. You're going to get some calls from the toilet now. You are.
But my clients don't call me. They email me.
All right. You're going to emails from the toilet saying, and photos.
No, please, people, no photos. No
photos. Is this a 6 or a 7?
No. I'm happy to just have you describe your poop to me, but I don't need to see it specifically. So anyway, no, that's a no.
So we've got these softy things. So this is something like a little bit of an alarm clock. This is regular.
Yeah. So 5's still okay. You don't get too many issues if you got a 5.
All right. Let's go
maybe
6.
moving into. So let's go 6. So 6 is mushy with ragged edges.
Mushy.
So that's starting to look a bit not so
mashed
good. Mashed
potato-y.
Fluffy pieces with raggedy edges.
Runny mashed potato.
So it's quite loose and a little bit lumpy.
Trying to describe that to our listeners. Fluffy pieces with ragged edges, mushy. So it's quite,
I'd say quite loose. So we're not talking watery.
No.
But quite very unformed.
Yeah.
So if it's not formed and it's a little bit sort of, then you're starting to look at probably some issues.
And you're going to get things like, splashdown. This is
you're going to get
this is a little bit splattery.
A little, well, it can be. Yeah.
It's not as bad as number 7.
So 6, and then we're going to talk about 7, and then we'll talk about some reasons for probably 6 and 7s.
All right, you want to go to 7?
So let's go 7.
Oh, Jesus. How do I
7 is pretty much
one?
liquid with no solid pieces.
Yeah,
it's just
watery
diarrhea.
We've all been there.
It's pretty gross. So 6 and 7. So that constitutes diarrhea.
Yeah.
Diarrhea pretty much.
Yeah.
Lots of different reasons.
What are some of the reasons you get diarrhea?
Stools. So when I talk to clients, as you say, is your stool formed, semi-formed, loose, watery? So if it's sort of that loose verging on watery. IBS is one, so that constipation, diarrhea type
irritable
picture.
bowel syndrome.
Irritable bowel syndrome. Parasites.
Wow.
Yeah, so parasites can be an indication. Diarrhea can be an indication of parasites. In some cases, can cause loose stools. Very common.
Oh, very common.
Yeah.
This is quite serious in kids.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
you get dehydration in kids quite easily.
Yes.
Now, the problem with parasites is they're way bigger than the immune system. So the only way the body can get rid of it is to literally flush it out by increasing histamine in the colon, which just lets everything go and hopefully physically washes the parasite away.
Yeah. And interestingly with parasites, because they have a life cycle, obviously, a lot of times you can have diarrhea and then you can be okay for a few months and then you can have diarrhea again. And that's sort of that cycle of the parasite as well. So sometimes if they're not continually hatching and then breeding and then alive and then hatching, they can go into sort of like a hibernation phase and then the eggs can hibernate until the environment's right and then they can hatch again.
Yeah.
So that can sort of be why sometimes you might have a big spate of diarrhea and then nothing and then another. So that's a possibility. I've seen that before.
Yeah.
Food intolerances.
Oh.
Really common as well.
You eat the wrong thing and the body just gets rid of it.
Yeah. So, I find with histamine issues, people with histamine issues can be more likely to have diarrhea, that type of thing. So any type of food intolerance can cause it. Hydrogen sulfide, SIBO. So as we were talking about SIBOs before, and they're different types. So hydrogen sulfide, generally you'll see more of a diarrhea type state than a constipation state.
Well, in chemist world, hydrogen sulfide is quite a common gas, industrial gas, and it literally smells like rotten eggs.
Yeah.
They call it rotten egg gas, so you'll know that odour.
Yeah. You know it. You'd know it. Exactly.
So we used to do this on an industrial scale. I was a chemist, and there was processes we used where it gave off hydrogen sulfide. It's mildly toxic because when it adds to water, it forms sulfuric acid. H2SO4. So you got to be careful of this. You breathe it in, it can corrode your lungs.
Yeah.
So too strong, but it does stink. And when I was, year 10 chemistry, we just thought it was hilarious that people got gas poisoning.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, hilarious that people got gas poisoning. Awesome. Mast cell activation syndrome, so that's sort of a lead on from histamines.
Histamine,
Yeah, so histamine. High magnesium, I see this a lot.
Really?
A lot. Yeah, so people are taking a lot of magnesium and they don't correlate it with diarrhea. And I just say back off the magnesium and they're back to normal. So that can be actually a lot more common than you think. Yeah.
You think that people would. I mean, you got to remember that if you were going for a colonoscopy, which you do over the age of 50.
What are you looking at me for, Steve?
No, you're way under 50.
I'm not there yet.
But
Maybe by the time it comes out.
When you get to that age, you have to have a poop test every 2 years.
Actually, my partner did a joke yesterday. He said something because I recently did I like to do stool tests because I just do.
With his consent?
Once a year. No, my own, not his.
Your own? I didn't know this.
I did I've done a new, because we will talk about stool testing and I've done what new one's out, which is amazing. It's amazing, yeah. So I've just wanted to do it.
You've got to talk about your poop later with me.
Yeah, I will with you, Steve, yeah.
Yeah, not so much on camera.
Maybe not my poop, but maybe my poop test results.
Oh, that too, yeah.
But yeah, my partner thought it was hilarious yesterday telling me that I should be expecting a parcel in the mail soon because it's my birthday. The stool analysis, stool test, the colon test. I'm like, anyway, I won't tell you what I said he was. But he thought that was hilarious.
So that's
I'm now
funny.
At that age.
Hang on, you've got your birthday present.
I have got one. Well, he reckons it's half my birthday present.
That thing is half. Well, I tell the public what it was.
He bought me a treadmill.
Holy mackerel.
I know. Because
I'm lucky to buy my wife one single rose for her birthday.
Oh, see, I'm lucky. I have an awesome partner. He's very nice.
Yeah, but I'm not an awesome husband.
No, I got it to add to my gym collection. I love it. So, he bought me a treadmill and said I was getting a colon cancer test in the mail. So that was awesome.
But it's quite funny. Whenever you buy a woman that, it can end up badly.
He did say to me, this is not, because full disclosure, I wanted a treadmill and I've been banging on about how I'm going to get a treadmill. So that he's why he bought me one, not because he thought I was fat.
Yes. I wasn't going to mention that, but you're glad you did.
No, because where I live, it's very hot, and in summer we get midges, really bad midges, and I react to midges, so I can't go walking in dusk.
Bastard,
so I am now having to walk inside. So, yeah.
Midges?
One of those people. Yeah, really bad
They're
midges.
awful things.
They're horrible, and I have been attacked to the point where I've just been covered in bites.
All right. So if you wanted to have a camera inserted up your rectum,
Yes.
as you do over 50, you have to. They prescribe you gram doses of magnesium.
Yeah, magnesium oxide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is beautiful laxative.
Fantastic.
It works like you wouldn't believe.
It's great. Not good as a magnesium
I've
supplement, but-
never had it. I've
No, I've
had
never
a
had it
colonoscopy.
either. They use it, but there's a product, I don't know, product fog, but it's called colon cleanse, and it's just straight magnesium oxide.
Oh.
Yeah, it just definitely cleanses your colon.
I'm just thinking of gags where you could stick it in the water supply here and everyone's running to the
Yeah, that would be, and make sure that's on the days I'm not here.
Pretty tasteless, I think so. Because, we all drink the water here. I just drank all that. So, if someone spiked it, I'm in massive trouble. So magnesium is what we call hydrophilic. It draws water. So via osmosis, what osmosis is when water goes from a low concentration to a high concentration. So the water is sucked from your body because you've got high concentration of salts in your gut, magnesium, and it just makes your stool liquid.
Yeah.
And you just, what's the poop through an eye of a needle?
Yes, that's it.
That's the term, yeah. So,
the words changed the word, but yes. Urgency, I think, is another way of saying it. Urgency. This is extreme urgency.
Jeez.
Acute stress. So constipation can be more chronic stress.
Yep.
But acute stress, so when you get really nervous and say, my stomach doesn't feel so good. So that sort of adrenaline actually sort of helps to pushes everything.
Literally I beeped myself.
That's right.
In fright, when you
That's right.
get someone, it's just been Halloween here.
Yes.
So every year I didn't go this year, but our club, Four-Wheel Drive Club, we have a whole lot of kids there and all we do all night is give them lollies and scare the shit out of them. We take them on four-wheel drive trips at night and people jump out of the bush and grab them. And, it's quite horrific.
Wow.
It's only night of the week
I don't understand Halloween in Australia.
Don't you?
I don't. No, I don't agree with it. Sorry, everyone. I just don't think it's really taken on, and it's just not us. It's more an American thing. I don't know why they do it, but there was one person in our little bit that did it, and I'm like, what's one person going to do?
Yeah.
But at the local supermarket, they have a little 5 o'clock time, and all the kids go and get lollies.
Really?
Apparently, so I get told. But I don't get it. I don't think that it's not an Australian thing.
No.
Anyway, some people are picking up, so don't shoot me if you love it.
All right, so hypothetically, I've got the runs. What do I do?
Well, I will say one last thing before we go to what do we do. Believe it or not, diarrhea can actually be a sign of constipation in some people.
Oh, you better explain this.
So a lot of times if you're constipated and obviously the stool's building up, and then what's coming down behind it actually has more water in it and it has to get out somehow. So it'll just push through the dry stool and you'll have runny stool. So that can actually be, constipation. So if you have issues and then you get diarrhea, sometimes you go, well, sometimes I have diarrhea, sometimes I have constipation. It could well be purely constipation. So that's just something to be watch out for.
It's amazing there's so many things that can cause this stuff. And it's it's amazing that anyone's got normal stools. I've got a paper here but we'll get to, I really want to know how to fix diarrhea just in case.
Oh, okay. Well, let's fix diarrhea first, and we'll talk about that study. Again, microbiome testing, I'd say probably more so for very loose stools because it can indicate, could have parasites or infections and things like that. So we want to be really careful. So microbiome testing, I just premise to look into the cause if there's something serious. Otherwise, probiotics, Saccharomyces boulardii, I use a lot for loose stools.
That's a good one.
They call it traveller's diarrhea probiotic because you give it, if you're going travelling, here's a tip for everybody. If you're going travelling to, say, India or Asian countries or places where you're more inclined to possibly get some food poisoning, get on some Saccharomyces boulardii 2 weeks before you leave and then take it all through your holiday. And that can definitely help with diarrhea and help with any sort of infections. Like Bacillus rhamnosus GG is another really good one because it helps to desensitize that GI tract to a degree as well. A PHGG, again, really good for this one. Obviously, you wouldn't be you could do other prebiotic fibers, but I tend to stay away from them for diarrhea. But PHGG can be really good. And then gut lining repair, because a lot of times there's a lot of inflammation that can be causing this diarrhea. So repairing sort of that intestinal mucosa as well with, we've talked about before with glutamine, licorice, aloe vera, marshmallow, all those types of really nice soothing type herbs and things.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we'll explain what a normal bowel habit is. And this is from a paper of the Scandinavian Journal of Gastroenterology. And it was a bit of a survey between 18 and 70 years. So they just picked those people. They gave them diaries. And basically 98% of them had 3 stools per day or down to 3 stools per week. 70% of sturms were considered normal if they're 3 and 4. 12 were hard and 10 were loose percentage. Urgency was reported in 36% and straining by 47% and incomplete defecation 46%.
Oh, that's pretty high.
So we've got some issues here, and this is in Scandinavia, which is a better country than Australia when it comes to health, because we're the worst. Pretty bad. So you know, 3. I don't know about 3 per week. That's not enough. Really.
Well, we're going to talk about what's normal and what's not.
Yeah,
but we'll talk about 3 per week. I'd be worried if it was
what I want to talk about now is colours.
Yeah, so we've gone through the Bristol Stool Chart 1 to 7. So hopefully everyone's sort of got that in their head. So, but now we can talk about all the different coloured poops and what they mean.
Well, let's start with my favourite colour, red.
Yes.
You're red poo. Am I going to die?
Well, I don't know.
Okay. But I mean, it looks bad.
It looks
Everyone
bad.
thinks blood.
Everyone thinks blood. So,
but what could it be?
Let's first look at what you ate for dinner the night before.
I had beetroot and beetroot.
I have. How many times have you heard people, and I've done it myself, gone, oh my God, something's wrong. And then I've gone, hang on a minute, I ate like half a kilo of roasted beetroot last night.
My most reddest stool was when I had beetroot and carrot juice. Was it a medical conference?
Yeah.
And, I just drank that stuff. Like, I didn't drink water. I just drank beetroot and carrot juice for the whole weekend, 3 days.
Oh, my God.
I literally turned orange.
Your liver would have been.
And my poos went a purple colour. It was awesome. I want to do it again one day.
Oh, no, that's
didn't feel sick. Didn't feel any different.
I'm sure you wouldn't have. So.
Just that hyperkeratosis.
Good for liver cleanse and all that sort of thing. So yeah, but first think before you panic. First think about what you may be.
Well, I was going to panic, but I'll wait now.
So don't panic. So be beetroot and other red or purple foods. Blackberries and things. Sometimes that can do it as well. But if not, it can be a sign of sort of lower digestive tract bleeding. So if it's a red, quite red. Bright red, so that's more fresh blood. So, bowel after you've had blood after you've had a bowel movement could just be hemorrhoids.
Yeah.
So generally, you won't see the blood in the stool so much. It's more on it.
Correct.
And on the toilet paper as well. That could be hemorrhoids. It could be like an anal fissure as well. So that can happen from constipation. So it's like a little tear in the anus. That can be quite painful and cause bleeding and pain as well.
Jeez.
But we always say if there's any blood, check it with your GP every time. It doesn't matter what you think it is, always get it checked. I have a horror story of this is from one of my lecturers when I was at college actually. She had a friend and they had blood in their stool, fresh blood, but like red blood, and went to the GP 3 times and they said, no, it's just hemorrhoids. You've got hemorrhoids. Don't worry about it. She had colon cancer, ended up stage 4, and she ended up dying. Stage 4,
just for those who don't know, anything stage 4 cancer is the worst stage.
It's the worst,
It means it's metastasized and spread.
Yeah.
Just so people know.
Yeah, so not to be like fearmonger, but it's 99.9% of the time, blood in your stool is nothing to be worried about, but always check it. And that's what I always say if someone comes to me with blood, I say, you need to go and get that checked every time. And then you can just go, okay, cool, there's nothing, and then we just work on that. So that's what could cause red stools. So look at that. And if there's blood in the stool, red blood in the stool, sometimes that could even be just something you've eaten that's sharp, believe it or not, and it's had a little bit of a tear all the way through.
Bit of a toothpick or something.
Yeah. So if you only see it once, maybe twice, and then nothing, then but also always get it checked anyway.
Good on you. All right, now I'm going to hit you with a weird colour.
Yeah.
Green.
Green poo.
Have you ever had green poo?
I've had green poo a lot, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I was joking.
I have.
Well, how do you get green poo? Because I want it. I think it'd be awesome. That would be great.
So, high green veg intake. And I used to eat a lot of green veggies, a lot. And I'd make soups out of spinach and I'd have just a packet full of green stuff. So it can just be from high green vegetable intake. It can cause green poo, really common.
I've got to try that.
Yeah. Give it a go, Steve.
I'm going green.
Let's try and go for
I'm going to be
multicolour
Incredible Hulk business green. I'm going to go for this.
Go for it.
All right. What else could it be?
If it's green diarrhea, it could be food poisoning. So watch out for that. So if you suddenly eat think you've eaten something bad and you're getting a bit vomity and diarrhea and it's quite green. Salmonella, coli, Giardia, those pretty nasty.
So your undercooked chickens and that and you get green diarrhea.
Yeah.
When's lunch again? Yeah, just wondering. Done a while.
I hope people listen to this before lunch or dinner. Sorry, people. Should have put a warning at the beginning of it.
God, yeah.
Excess bile in the stool from a fast transit time. So bile can be green and then it can go yellow, and it also is what causes.
It gets reabsorbed.
Reabsorbed, yeah. So, but it could be excess bile in your stool, so you're not absorbing it. You're not absorbing your fats. It's got an issue with bile flow, that type of stuff, and it's just coming out. It can be, that's a possibility.
Right.
Well.
So we've had red and green. Let's go for the traffic light. Yellow.
Yellow. Gallbladder dysfunction or dysregulation. So again, bile issues. So if you've got the bile coming out, and again, it's not reabsorbing, it's not breaking down your fats, it can cause a yellowing of your stool.
That's pretty common.
Yeah. Well, it's common-ish, yeah.
I'll tell you what's not common is white poos.
No, white or grey. Don't see them very often. The only time I've ever seen a white poo is if you haven't cleaned up the dog poo in the backyard and it goes white.
It goes white.
Yeah. Or you run, I don't have a dog at the moment when I was young, or you run over it in the lawnmower and just poof, goes poof.
Oh, that's happened a lot.
My brothers used to do that so they didn't have to pick it up.
Oh, my God.
They'd let it go dry and then just grab it.
So white and grey. So what causes that?
So a lack of bile. Yeah. So if you're not producing any bile, you can have quite white or grey stools. You'll probably have quite a few other symptoms along with this. It won't just be your white or grey. So you'll know that there's something else going on. But yeah, that can be lack of bile. So that's really something to think about. And this one is actually you say the colour.
I want black.
Black stool.
Goth blue.
So this can be, again, something to be concerned about.
It can be, yeah.
So you want to maybe get this checked out as well, because it can indicate bleeding more in the upper digestive region. So it's older blood. So I would be getting that's checked.
Serious shit, this.
Yeah, it's very serious shit. So you want to get
Have we said shit too often for the podcast?
Well, I mean, it's like, you know.
It's the topic of today.
It is the topic. We're not swearing. No, we're just doing colloquial terms. We're Australian. That's what we do. So black. Some iron supplements can make your poo black though. So if you started an iron supplement and your poo's gone black, stop the iron supplement. If it goes normal, you know that's what it is.
It's usually the crappy iron too, the iron sulfate.
It is, yeah. So that's a crappy one. So, but otherwise, yes, and we'll talk about texture as we go along as well. But get that checked if you have got black stools ongoing, because it could be, you could have a bleeding ulcer, you could have anything going on. So, yeah, so that's our colour range.
Colour. So we've gone through form, colour. Yeah. Let's just do some other weird stuff. What about if you're getting a lot of undigested food in there?
Yeah, so this we didn't say at the beginning, this is why it's good to look at your poo.
You have to look
at your poo, because you can tell so much from it. You know, anything that comes out of your body gives you a really good indication of what's going on in your body. So you want to have a look at it. So undigested food. So, you know, if you see bits of carrot or you see tomato or anything like that. Corn is a whole other story.
Corn is a classic.
I don't think anyone really digests corn very well.
No.
Poor acid and enzyme production. So they're not breaking down.
There was a test we were taught in naturopathy college. I don't know if I recommend this, but you were taught to swallow corn and measure your transit time.
Yeah, I still say that.
Oh, God, do you?
I do say that to people because it's such a good way to track the transit time, because no one really digests. But I've had people say to me, if I ask them if it's undigested food, and they say corn, but I haven't eaten corn in like 3 years. And I'm like, I don't know where that comes from.
That's a bad sign, isn't it?
That's a pretty bad sign.
All right.
So poor acid and enzyme production can cause undigested foods. So if you see that. Vegetable fibres, so specifically, and you can tell, I mean, I've seen a lot of pictures, vegetable fibres. So pancreatic enzyme deficiency specifically. So you need those pancreatic enzymes to break down those fibrous fibres, carbohydrate fibres.
Yep.
So that can be an issue there. Mucus.
Yeah, what if you see mucus in your poo?
Mucus. So we all have a little bit of mucus in our poo, obviously, because we have mucus in our GI tract. But it's usually clear and you can't see it unless you're producing a lot of it. But it can also be white. So if you have large amounts of clear mucus or white mucus, kind of a look, or even a yellowy kind of mucus, that can indicate inflammation. So we have a mucus lining in our GI tract, and we also have bacteria that produce mucus, so mucin-producing bacteria. So they will, if there's inflammation, they will work overtime to try to keep this mucus layer nice and thick to protect the gut wall from whatever's going on in the gut. So if you're producing a lot of mucus, it generally indicates there's some inflammation going on there somewhere in that GI tract. So that's something that you want to be aware of. So mucus can be an indication of possibly something to look out for.
Incredible, isn't it? I mean, what the bowels can go through.
I know.
And I mean, we've talked about, things about blood and that, but as you correctly point out, anything you think is really bad, speak to your doctor.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the thing. You're feeling unusual pains. You may have thought you might have seen blood. You can get a test. You don't have to have a colonoscopy. Usually you proceed it with a stool test.
Yeah.
Then you get a colonoscopy to look where the bleed is or whatever it is. And again, most of the time you have a polyp, you have hemorrhoids, you have something up there that's causing these bleeding and that sort of thing. So that's what you really need to investigate.
Yeah, and if you're getting a colonoscopy, it doesn't really check your microbiome. So a lot of people say, I've had a colonoscopy, everything's fine, I mustn't have any parasites or anything. It doesn't really test for that. No. It's testing for exactly what you said. So that's kind of a differentiation. Is that a word?
Yeah, differentiation. Yeah, absolutely, it's a word.
So another thing to look out for is sandy or grainy stools.
Oh, God. Can't even fathom that.
So you kind of see like a graininess in the bowl around the stool. So that could be oxalate dumping.
Ah.
Yeah. So we probably should do a podcast on oxalates. I think I've been wanting to do one on oxalates for a while.
That'd be a good one.
So oxalates can cause a lot of issues in the body.
And oxalates are in beans, green leafies, nuts. These
all
are healthy foods. Yeah.
Yeah, all the healthy foods.
And that's why you dodge my nuts when I bring them in.
I know. No, I dodge them because of the histamines, Steve. Not from the oxalates.
It was the oxalates.
But they put oxalates and histamines.
There's always some reasons
spinach is really high in oxalates. I won't go into all of them because people start freaking out and taking them. I'm just ignoring. I just completely I just shut off from anything Steve says when he starts talking about nuts.
You like them.
I do.
You like my nuts?
Your salted mixed nuts in the box that you bring in, yes, that's right.
Yes, that's what I'm referring to.
Yes.
I just abbreviate that big sentence to my nuts.
Yes, I know you do. That's why I just keep continuing on. If you suddenly take
okay.
I don't need my tissues. I'm not crying yet.
No.
If you suddenly, say someone needs to go on a low oxalate diet and you suddenly take all your oxalates out, which is highly not recommended, that you take them all out at once, you can get oxalate dumping and you can get that sort of grainy sort of ness in the stool. So that's something else to look out for.
Wow.
Another one that's kind of similar, I guess, but not coffee grind looking poo.
I think I've seen that before.
Have you?
Yeah,
in
not
your
me.
own
No, but I've seen it in.
Poo are you looking at?
No, we've seen photos of it. We've studied it for years in naturopathy. We're looking at poos all day.
We do look at poos all day. So this can be something a bit nasty as well. So you want to, again, it could be blood.
Yeah, so it's a blacky colour or dark brown.
Like coffee grounds looking kind of colour, bleeding stomach, esophagus, something like that. So that's something you really want to get looked at straight away. So we've done blood. So that's what things could be in your poo to look out for. And then we can go with the appearance of your poo. So we've done colour, form, what's in it, now appearance. Or kind of texture, I guess, is probably more.
So what happens if I have a poo?
Yeah.
And it goes into the toilet and there's an oil slick on the top of the toilet after I have a poo?
Yeah. So that can indicate some gallbladder issues again. So some bile insufficiency.
Yeah.
So you're not digesting your fats well. So if you've got that like oil slick look or greasy look to the water.
Yeah.
So when you see oil on the road and it's been raining and you get that sort of oily look, that can indicate gallbladder.
With my old Nissan, it's got a rainbow effect and it rains.
Just trails along behind you.
Yeah, just the whole thing. All right, I'm going to hit you one. What about if you get a floaty?
Floaty. So this one again is bile issues as well. So if they float, so you're not digesting your fats very well. So floaties. And the other one to look out for is greasy. So if you got like say you go to the toilet and you leave a big slick.
Oh my God!
Or you wipe and you wipe, keep wiping and wiping. And it's real greasy and sticky.
It's greasy,
Again, gallbladder.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because you're not digesting fats.
That's right. Yeah.
So you're getting greasy poo.
Yeah. Wow. So that's as
I said, lunch is not far away, so no. I don't think I'll be eating today.
No.
So that's really interesting because gallbladder, not having enough bile in there doesn't mean it emulsifies fats. That's what bile does. So it's really incredible that you make sure, because everyone says, do your poos float all right? And it's like, if they do, problematic.
Yeah, can be. Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about poos till we've had enough of poos.
Mm.
What about, can we talk just a little bit about farts?
A little bit about farts.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. So that's another interesting.
Okay, so let's say you've got excessive gas. Is that we can say that? Yeah.
Excessive gas, yes.
Yeah. What's caused that?
SIBO is pretty common. So the different types of SIBO. So some SIBOs are more likely to cause gas than others. And timing. So you can tell a little bit by where there might be a dysbiosis, whether it's in small intestine or large intestine, based on timing.
Oh.
So if you eat and sort of within that 30 to 40 minutes, you're starting to get a bit gassy.
Yeah.
A bit bubbly and gassy. That's more your upper.
Right.
So, and then if it's more like 2 hours, within 2 hours, it's more your lower GI.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. That's good.
So that can sort of give you more of an indication where there might be an issue. So gas can indicate this. Look, gas is normal, everyone. Let me just premise.
I never fart.
No, never. Never, Steve. That's
Shit,
yeah,
I do
never.
Okay, so what if your fart smells like rotten eggs? You know, everyone.
Well, we went over that. So that hydrogen sulfide dominant SIBO, that can be an indication of that. So but if you're farting a lot, and particularly after you eat, suddenly farting a lot, that's an indication there's some dysbiosis in either large or small intestine. So you'd have to look further into that.
And we want to go 3 times a week, more than 3 times a week, and less than 3 times a day.
Yeah, see, I don't know if I go with the 3 times a week.
No, that's too little. Because you got to think of, if you have 3 plates of food, forget snacks, then that's a lot of food that's got to go somewhere.
Yeah, and if you're not evacuating every day, a lot of these toxins and things can be recirculating, and that's when you can start to have issues. SIBO can be as a result of constipation. So that's sort of that recycling of those toxins and things and the microbes. So I usually say minimum once a day. If you're not going every day, I think that you need to work on that. Now, some people say, I only go 3 times a week, but I feel fine.
Yeah.
Well, you may feel fine, but there's a lot of stuff probably recirculating through your system.
Absolutely.
And if you're seeing a naturopath, then there's obviously something going on because you'd come to a naturopath.
Start with the basics. A healthy diet, plenty of vegetables, fruits, salads, lots of exercise, lots of water. Just start with those 3. Just forget the other. And then if there's still problems, see someone like Nic.
Yeah, definitely.
That's easy. Wow. Well, this has been very enlightening.
So all about poo, so everyone can go away and look at their poo now.
God, can't believe we talked for an hour about poo.
And I could talk all day about poo.
Oh, no, I do too. I'm only joking a bit. But look, this has been great. So that's about all we've got time for, though. So we better finish this up.
Go
and
we'll have lunch.
It is physically lunchtime now, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see you all next week, guys.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Bye.